This is the Wolves POSTCAST, your instant game reaction for the Minnesota Timberwolves. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
The Minnesota Timberwolves got Rudy Gobert and Naz Reid back in the train back on the tracks over an injured Portland Trailblazers team missing their top wings, Deni Avdija and Shaedon Sharpe. But get the win behind a combined 63 points from Anthony Edwards and Jaden McDaniels to take this one 124-121. What's going on? Back at it tonight. Another Locked On Wolves postcast right here on the Locked On Minnesota Network, all part of the Locked On Podcast Network, which, thanks to all of you, is now the #1 sports podcast network nationwide. I'm Jack Borman. I'm riding solo again without my co-host Luke Inman, who, fingers crossed, will be back with us on Thursday, inching closer to 100%. This is our live reaction show, so we go live within about 10 minutes of every game going final. So if you're listening to this on the Locked On Wolves audio feed, please keep that in mind. Also, please be willing to check us out on YouTube. Subscribe there so you get notified when we go live after every single game on the Locked On Wolves YouTube channel. Also, please go follow our guy, Ben Beacon, who does an excellent job hosting the Locked On Timberwolves show on the Locked On Wolves YouTube and audio feed, wherever you get your podcasts. We'll get into our player of the game, our X Factor tonight, and what we'll be talking about. But first, off the top, the Blazers coming into this one winning 5 of their last 7 games, but they played this one without Deni Avdija, who re-aggravated a back injury in their win over the Suns on Sunday. He's now missed 6 of their last 9 games. Shaedon Sharpe missed this game. Announced today that he's going to miss another 4 to 6 weeks with a stress reaction on top of a calf strain. Time Lord Robert Williams did not play with a foot injury. And then Caleb Love, who's played in some of these games that they haven't had. Avdija and Sharpe didn't play tonight as they're managing the available games for him on a 2-way contract. The Wolves in this one get Rudy Gobert back from a suspension. Naz Reid back from that shoulder issue. They entered tonight, 1 game back of the 3 seed in the Western Conference, and obviously great for them to get a win in what's been just a really busy conference. They're now up in the 5 spot, half a game back of Houston and Denver, who are even in the standings, essentially, both 8.5 games back of the first seed Thunder. In the first half of this game, quick recap here. Jaden McDaniels, Anthony Edwards absolutely lit it up in the first half for a combined 38 points. Portland scored 29 points off of turnovers and second chances to stay within 3 at halftime. Also shot the 3 ball pretty well for their standards. It was a really high-scoring third quarter. 2 teams combined to shoot 9 of 18 from 3, scored 69 points between them. I think it was 35-34 in that third quarter. So it was either a 3 or 4 point game entering the fourth quarter. The Wolves built a nice little lead in the early part of the fourth quarter, got it to like 8 or 10. Portland inch back into it, getting to the foul line. They were in the bonus for the final 6 minutes of this game. But then Rudy Gobert and Jaden McDaniels took it home from there. Gobert had 8 points and 9 rebounds in the fourth quarter alone. Huge for him after going scoreless in the first half. Jaden McDaniels had 8 points in that fourth quarter, I believe. And was just instrumental to 4 points for Jane in that fourth quarter, was instrumental to what they did defensively as well. It's part of a huge night for him, and the 2 of them made up for an uncharacteristically off fourth quarter for Ant. He shot 1 of 8 in the fourth quarter as part of missing 9 shots in a row on the second half after a huge first half in which he scored 25 points on 8 of 12 shooting. But big picture, I thought it was great to see the Wolves fly around defensively in this game like we know they can. They tied a season high with 22 steals plus blocks. So for the Wolves tonight in this game, they had, let's see here, they had 8 blocks and 14 steals in this game. So the Wolves are now 10-2 when they record at least 20 stocks in a game this season. 3 of those 10 wins have come against the Trailblazers, funny enough, who have kind of a lack of true point guard play in this team. They've missed Scoot Henderson for the most of the season, but he's been turnover prone. And Drew Holiday too, for as good as he's been throughout his career, I still just don't think he's a natural fit to have the ball in his hands all the time as the lead guard, point guard option. I believe Drew Holiday in this game Had 5 turnovers, was not his best night. And the Wolves defense made up for just some issues in some of the controllable areas that they had. That maybe the biggest knock on the Timberwolves defensively was that they really struggled to rebound the ball. Even when Gobert was on the floor, their defensive rebound rate was sub 65%, which is really bad. League average is about 69%. And so you want to be above 70%. So for the Wolves to do that poorly with Gobert on the floor was a bummer. But again, Portland, really strong offensive rebounding team, came in 4th in the league in offensive rebound rate, about 35%. Tonight, Portland, 16 offensive rebounds for 23 second chance points. It's north of where the Blazers sit on the year, which is 19 a game. And that's first in the NBA. So the Wolves got work there. And then in terms of points off turnovers, Wolves allowed 24 points off turnovers. They committed 16 giveaways in this game, almost double what Portland scores per game this season, just 13.4 points per game off turnovers. That's second worst in the NBA this season. Portland had 16 through 3 quarters and then had 8 more in the 4th quarter. So the Wolves been a kind of a trend here of some really sloppy play that I think that they've been getting away with a little bit, but certainly need to clean it up as they see a schedule that really stiffens up here over the course of the next couple of weeks. There's a tale of 2 halves in that department. So I know that, for those of you who have watched and listened to this show, most of the year know that I like to, look at the percentage of your total points that come from second chances and points off of turnovers. And so in the first half, about half of Portland's points came off of second chances or turnovers, 29 of their 59. But the Wolves really cleaned that up in the second half. They allowed just 18 of Portland's 62 in the second half came in those situations. That's 29%. So anything about or below 30%, is where you want to be. So much better second half compared to the second half there. And then the last area too, fouling. Blazers won big in free throw attempts, 30-19. It was worse before the foul game. Got into it, late in the game. But the 3-point shooting was the great equalizer for the Timberwolves in this game. 17 of 35, 49%, plus 9 on the 3-point line was pretty much the difference in this game. For a Timberwolves team that sorely needed it against a Blazers team that has been shooting the 3 ball much better of late. So with all that said, let's get into tonight's player of the game.
This is the Locked On Player of the Game.
Yeah, this is a pretty easy one for my money tonight. Jaden McDaniels is our player of the game. He was fantastic in every sense of the sense of the imagination tonight. He had 29 points, tied for second most in a game this season, ties his most in a game that Anthony Edwards has played in. He was 7 of 10 from 2, 5 of 6 from 3. He did not make any free throws. So to have 29 as an off-ball wing, doesn't have the ball in his hands all that often, with zero free throw made is pretty remarkable. And on top of that, he had 5 blocks, 3 steals. He became the second player in the NBA to have 7 stocks and a half this year, joining, I believe, Chet Holmgren. And then he's the only player with at least 7 stocks and 10 points in any half this season. And for Jaden McDaniels, want to highlight this too. There have been 15 games in which Jaden McDaniels has taken at least 14 field goal attempts. He shot at least 50% or better in 8 of them. So the way that Jaden's able to scale his game up when called upon, I think is really, really nice. And the great thing about Jaden too, when his number is kind of called upon more, there's higher usage for him in the game. He doesn't try to do things that he's not well suited to do. You don't see him doing, super uncharacteristic things or playing out of pocket or, trying to add things to his game that we don't see. He just does a lot of the things that we know and love about his game and that he's very good at doing, right? Getting to his spot in the mid-range, elevating over a smaller defender, running in transition, knocking down corner threes, attacking closeouts and finishing with really great touch inside, and also hanging around on the offensive glass too. Jaden had he had 3 offensive rebounds in this game, which is a great number for him to have. And then in terms of second chance points, he had 5 second chance points in this game, which is obviously great to see. So for Jaden to have 29 points, only 4 of them come in the fast break, is all the signs of a great offensive game for Shaedon. And the other part of it too, when you look at what his shot chart was in this game, it's really from all over the floor. I mean, he made 3 corner threes. He made 6 shots at the rim. He made 1 non-rim paint 2, and then missed 3 mid-range, typical mid-range shots that we normally see him make, and then also made a couple of slot threes as well. So just for Shaedon, I think it's the ability to knock down shots from anywhere and keep the defense off balance by knowing that he can get to his spot, and really his spot is anywhere on the floor, and can be effective from anywhere on the floor. I think is super important, and I think is a really good change of pace from the way that the Timberwolves have kind of played through Julius Randle and Anthony Edwards for the majority of the season. And I think especially in minutes where Anthony Edwards is off the floor, the Timberwolves have done a much better job of late empowering Jaden McDaniels to kind of be that go-to guy as a scorer, which is something that I've been calling for years. I know several others have been calling for a long time, but making more of an effort to get the ball to Jaden McDaniels and play through him is super important, not only for this season, but I think when you think about his career arc, if the Timberwolves do really want him to be the number 2 guy beside Anthony Edwards for the duration of his time in Minnesota, which I think is kind of hard to argue with at this point, it's only going to serve him better in the long run. I think something the Wolves should continue to lean into. Alrighty, today's show is brought to you by Indeed. Workplace chaos, deadlines stacking up, inbox overflowing, and the one position you have to fill still sitting open. When the pressure's on and you need the right hire, this is a job for sponsored jobs. Indeed, sponsored jobs helps you reach the right people who actually fit what you're looking for: skills, experience, location. So you're not just hoping the right candidate stumbles across your post. And here's a stat that says it all. In the minute I've been talking to you, companies like yours made 27 hires on Indeed, according to Indeed data nationwide or worldwide. So if you're hiring, spend less time searching and more time interviewing candidates who check all your boxes with Indeed sponsored jobs. Spend less time searching and more time actually interviewing candidates who check all your boxes. Less stress, less time, more results. When you need the right person to cut through the chaos, this is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. And listeners of this show will get a $75 sponsored job credit to help your job get the premium status it deserves at Indeed.com/podcast. Just go to Indeed.com/podcast right now and support our show by saying you heard about Indeed on this podcast. Indeed.com/podcast. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? This is a job for Indeed sponsored jobs. Today's show is also brought to you by FanDuel. Ever wanted to experience the NBA Finals live and in person? FanDuel is giving you the chance to turn that dream into reality with their NBA sweepstakes. Here's how it works. Use your profit boost on any NBA future, and you'll automatically be entered for a shot to win an NBA Finals trip for 2. That's right. Flights, tickets, the whole experience. If you're already looking at the board and thinking about which team can make a deep run, this is the perfect time to lock it in. I love futures this time of year. Whether it's picking a team to win the championship or grab a conference title, it adds that extra layer of excitement to every game down the stretch. And now, not only can your pick cash, but it could send you to the finals. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. Use your profit boost on an NBA future and get entered for your chance to win a trip to the NBA Finals. Play your game with FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of the NBA. Alrighty, let's get into tonight's X Factor.
It's time to reveal who made the biggest under-the-radar impact with today's X Factor.
All right, tonight's X Factor for me, Rudy Gobert. I think that if you would have told me at halftime that he would be in contention for this, I would have thought that you were a little bit crazy, but that's why we play 2 halves of basketball in the NBA. And I think for Rudy Gobert, looking at what he did in the first half of this game, I still thought that he was impactful defensively. I think, 7 rebounds, 5 of those on the defensive end of the floor were all really strong. He really struggled on the offensive end of the floor. Had a couple of ill-advised, attempts at the rim that did not work out too well for him. But just the way that he was able to kind of compartmentalize that and and come back in the second half and be exactly the player that the Timberwolves needed him to be. He had a double-double in the second half alone with 10 points, 12 rebounds, and just the split between the two sides of the ball. He had 7 defensive rebounds, 5 offensive rebounds. He had 3 stocks in that second half alone. For Rudy, all in all, tonight he had 10 points and he had a season-high 19 rebounds. And when you split that up, 12 defensive rebounds, 7 offensive rebounds to go along with 3 stocks in this game. And focusing specifically on the fourth quarter for Rudy Gobert, he saved the best for last, no question about it. He had 8 points, 5 offensive rebounds, 4 defensive rebounds, and he had an assist on Ant's 3-pointer that essentially sealed this game to go along with a steal and a block in that fourth quarter. And the Wolves now are 14-2 when Gobert gets at least 14 rebounds, which you can look at counting stats any which way you want to. But I think to me, it's just a signal of how much force and competitiveness Rudy Gobert is playing with especially on the defensive end of the floor. I think, Gobert certainly contests a ton of shots for this Timberwolves defense, but I think when he's in complete control on the defensive end of the floor, he's not only contesting shots, but he's also clearing the glass and then making good outlet passes that allow the Timberwolves to get up the floor quickly in transition. So I thought tonight was exactly indicative of why Rudy Gobert is so important to this team and why they look lost without him at times. I mean, the Timberwolves had a 140 offensive rating with Gobert off the floor tonight, that an offensive rating of 114 with him on the floor tonight. And just some context behind those numbers. League average is right at 114. So they had a league average defense with Gobert on the floor, and it would have been by far the worst in the NBA with him off the floor. Just some quicker hitters in this game for me. The bench got destroyed again. They're minus 21 in this one. It was 40-19. The Timberwolves bench didn't really shoot poorly in this game. They were 6 of 12 from 2, 2 of 6 from 3. But I think when you just consider who was suiting up for the Blazers bench, I think it becomes we sure that Timberwolves bench couldn't have put up a better fight against this opponent bench. Now, obviously, Scoot Henderson's a really good player in this league, and is going to be knock on wood if he stays healthy, a great player in the league for a long time. But you take his 19 points out of the equation, the Timberwolves still got outscored by Vit Krejci, Matisse Thybulle, who had 10 points in this game, and Sidy Cissoko, who had one of the funnier moments in the NBA, faking getting mad at that foul from Ayo Dosunmu, which got upgraded to a flagrant 1, and then immediately just pumping the crowd up after getting a technical, which I thought was pretty amusing and was kind of a turning point in the fourth quarter. But I just think that, again, the Wolves just have to figure out who they're going to play through and how aggressive they could be. I just thought that Ayo and Bones both were a little bit timid in this game. And I just think need to have, just the full trust of Chris Finch to go out there and play really aggressively on the offensive end of the floor, because, Bones Highland in this game had 2 assists, 2 steals, but only taking 3 shots in 13 minutes. Like, that's not why Bones Highland is out there on the floor. I think that the Timberwolves need Bones Highland to be closer to 6-7 shots a game, getting him up in high volume. I think that's when Bones has been at his best, when he just kind of thinks freely and lets the ball fly, and is, as Chris Finch likes to say in his press conferences, is doing something with the basketball. I don't think you saw quite as much of that tonight, and you didn't see either of those guys really get out and run too much in transition. That's something that I think the Timberwolves really need more of from those guys. Those two had combined 1 fast break point in this game. I think the 2 of those guys combined should be closer to 6 or 7 over the course of a game, just with their speed and ability to push pace off of stops. So that's kind of a barometer that I want to keep looking at. But it is a little bit concerning how up and down Ayo Dosunmu has been, considering how consistently excellent he was for the Bulls before the Wolves made the trade. And obviously there's a grace period for sure that you need to give a guy, but for a team that certainly has a chance to win the NBA championship this season, and they need a guy like Ayo Dosunmu to play a big role in that, with only 23 games left now, I think that they do need to find a way to empower Io and get the most aggressive and best version out of him over the next 6 weeks or so to close out the regular season.
This is what you'll be talking about.
Yeah, I think what I'll be talking about tomorrow is just asking a simple question. Can Jaden McDaniels become the number 2 option for the rest of the season on the offensive end of the floor? And I think that you can make an argument that Jaden is more of a natural fit as a scorer and a matchup problem than Julius Randle. And it obviously does so in a much different way than Randle, who is extremely effective at taking advantage of mismatches in the post, especially like we saw tonight with a much thinner Kamara in the second half. But I do think that, Julius Randle is a really talented playmaker, and you saw it again tonight, led the team with 6 assists. And I think when Randle is being at his most aggressive, but is looking to play make rather than to score and gets a little too tunnel vision as a scorer, I think that can become a little bit problematic. But when he's doing so as a playmaker, it's awesome for this Timberwolves offense. And I think that, Jaden is just honestly at times a little bit more effortless of a scorer in the way that he can get to his spots, play really, really well off the ball. Now is a guy that just continues to shoot the leather off the ball from 3 and then can, attack much smaller defenders, rise over them in the mid range or take bigger defenders off the bounce and finish inside in a variety of ways. So I think that's something that I'm looking for. I think you're looking at the number of games in which Jaden McDaniels has been the guy taking the second or the third most shots in a game. That rate has risen dramatically over the last 6 weeks. He has 14 games now this season where he takes the second most shots in the team. 8 of those have come in the last 6 weeks. So 2/3 of those in the last 6 weeks. And I just think that for the Wolves, not just the rest of the season, but into the future as well, I think that they need to kind of start showing Jaden McDaniels what he can do as a scorer if they just kind of give him the ball and breathe confidence in him to go out there and do it. And I think Anthony Edwards is certainly going to be a guy to do that. I think the question just becomes, can Julius Randle also be a guy that can do that? While Dante DiVincenzo just continues to hunt 3-point shots like he did tonight. I thought that tonight was a beautiful offensive formula for the Timberwolves, at least with the starters out there, and one that I hope that they can continue to deploy over the final 6 weeks of the season and into the playoffs. So that's going to do it for me tonight. I appreciate you staying up late and joining and watching the show. We'll be back for another late one on Thursday night. That's a 9:00 tip as the Wolves head to Los Angeles to take on kind of the remade Clippers. That one's on Prime Video. So we'll be back at it and we'll see you then. But until then, signing out.